Well, are the Medigap plans, for which we all know in previous testimony that AARP reaps a pretty significant profit, royalties they call it, are they subject to these same consumer protections that you talked about in regard to?
There's a whole different set of protections and provisions that deal with the Medigap policies. And so, for example, the Medigap isn't part of the private market reforms that we're talking about.
Well, the fact is, of course, that AARP, the American Association of Retired Persons, who promotes and markets this Medigap policy for a particular insurance company from whom they receive a lot of royalties, since it's 30% of the market, that they were granted an exemption from a lot of this oversight and regulation. Who knows, I mean, whether that's a political support sort of thing, a reward for endorsing Obamacare. But help me understand something else. You're here today testifying on behalf of the administration that without Obamacare's consumer protection, cross-state purchasing is a bad idea, and yet seniors under Medigap plans are not afforded those same protections. Yes or no?
Well, I can't really speak to kind of the details of the Medigap.
Well, I can speak yes or no, and the answer is no. Do you believe that seniors under Medigap plans should enjoy the same consumer protection as younger Americans?
As which Americans?
Younger.
I think anybody in a Medigap plan should have the right to consumer protections, and what those are compared to what other policies are, I can't get into.
Can you explain to me why seniors were not given the same consumer protection under the Affordable Care Act as young Americans?
Yeah, again, it's a different regime. The Medigap are supplemental policies to Medicare as opposed to policies, you know, issued in the commercial market.
But wouldn't you agree that they deserve the same consumer protections as any other Americans?
They may, and they may get them. I don't.
Mr. Larsen, the Obama administration and the congressional Democrats cut over $500 billion out of Medicare to help finance Obamacare. And Obamacare is not Medicare. It's a new entitlement program, maybe an entitlement program for younger people. They didn't provide consumer protections for seniors that were afforded to every other American. It's hard to ignore the fact that this administration purposely raided Medicare to fund a political takeover of health care and quite simply ignored the needs of seniors in the process. And now the solution, they say, is iPad. If you think that the first raid was bad, wait till you see the second. And I yield back.